Word on the Street, Special Edition. Today, I've invited the CEO and co-founder of DMA, John Treece, to join me. Thank you for being here, John.
It's my pleasure, Mark. You know, our mission at DMA is to actively listen, develop, and deliver automotive products that provide our customers with a unique opportunity to enhance their competitive selling advantage in the automotive aftermarket. Programs like Word on the Street is just one of the great ways we go about engaging our customers in an effort to stay connected. From the feedback and comments I've gotten, I think you guys have done a great job on this program.
John, thank you. Let's get right to some of the questions that I've got for you today. You know, I think we could probably spend an hour or so talking about this topic, but now that we're halfway through 2013, can you give us an update on where things stand with DMA? Kind of a state of the union, if you will.
Sure. Well, it's been a great first half so far. We've just finished up the second quarter, and sales are up over 80% over last year. To that point, we've expanded our distribution in Mexico and Canada and continue to add new distributors every single month. The Northeast has been particularly strong for us this year, and a lot of the programs we worked on last year are gaining momentum, such as our federated program of brake wear sensors and the numerous of new dealers that we've added to the Sensen product line. Profits are also up, although we've had an aggressive investment plan underway this year already. We've had some inventory issues since the first of the year, due in part by the startup of our new Sensen factory in combination with Chinese New Year. It's compounded by our exponential sales growth rates that we've been experiencing. Good problems to have, but we strive to be a high fill rate company, and there's been some challenges. We feel that we've worked out most of this now coming into the third quarter, and our inventory levels are where they need to be to support our growing distributor base. Looking forward to the second half of the year, we believe it'll be an even better than the first half. We have over 140 new part numbers in development, and our line of loaded struts assemblies, known as SpeedyStruts, will be launching in September. We have planned for the company to literally double in size, and I'm confident that we'll be able to accomplish this. Our investors are very happy with their better than industry dividend returns, which, by the way, this is our fourth consecutive year with a 6.25% dividend. All in all, we have a lot of work to do, but we appreciate all the support and assistance that our customers have given us.
You're right, John. We definitely have a lot of great things going on here. John, towards the end of May, you went to China for the company's mid-year planning meetings with many of our factories. First off, what's the purpose of these mid-year meetings, and what new developments can you share with us?
Sure. Well, as you know, DMA is not a broker, we're not an importer or a reboxer. We're an exclusive extension of our factories we represent. We're an integrated part of the company. In essence, we are their North American arm, and thus we function as a subsidiary. We're not a buy-sell, PO-to-PO situation, and in fact, our forecasting and logistical supply models are integrated with our factories. We're producing and holding finished goods at the factory so we can put the right mix of products on the water in a much more timely manner. Our factories don't just make stuff for us to sell. We take the lead role in product development, and it is DMA driving the decisions as to the line expansions with our factories. I think these are probably the most misunderstood points when I talk to customers and with other competitors. It's a much different model than what others are doing in the aftermarket.
John, can you tell us more about these mid-year meetings? You know, exactly what are they all about?
Sure. My mid-year planning meetings are to go over and address all of these points: new development, forecasting, better logistics, supply. We also discuss the future plans for expansion and support needed for us to take advantage of the business here in North America. These meetings are long, but critically important. It's how we stay on plan and ensure both sides of the water are on the same page and are operating towards the same goals.
Could you maybe expand a little more on the new developments?
Sure. As far as new developments, we have over 140 new shock and strut numbers in development right now, and we're launching our SpeedyStrut fully loaded assemblies this September. Now this program has another 80 parts in development as well. We're doubling our strut mount program offering, and we've made the strategic decision to incorporate SKF bearings into our strut mounts. That's a big quality advantage. We're also in the first stage development on air struts and hope to be the first on the scene by the Apex show in November. In addition to our ride control business, our wear brake sensor program continues to expand with many new numbers currently in development for newer model vehicles. Lastly, I'm not sure how many have heard this news yet, but I'm proud to announce that DMA is now an official distributor for the Scheffler group of products. That includes Luke, ENA, and the FAG brands. We'll be rolling these products out for order web fulfillment as well as to our distributors very soon.
John, I think my job as sales director just got a little more interesting.
That's for sure.
Now, speaking of China, you've made countless trips there since the mid-1990s. What are your thoughts on the state of affairs of the Chinese economy?
Well, that's a very complex question. So let's start at the 50,000 foot view. You know, China has modeled so much of their economic system after the U.S., and they're now starting to feel the same bursting bubbles as we did in 2008. Some of their economic practices over the last 8 to 10 years in terms of extending commercial lending credit have simply been ridiculously at high levels. This has led to an overexpansion of infrastructure, fraud running rampant at times, and even artificial bubbles in terms of real GDP growth rates. Bottom line, it's a society of have and have-nots. There's a very small middle class. Those that have it don't want to slow down, and they're certainly not thinking about going back. Unfortunately, those that don't feel a stronger resentment and push for more government control and support to level the playing field.
Now, what are your thoughts about the import-export trade with China?
Well, China's domestic consumption is not where it's propped up to be, and the internal, external pressures from other nations for fair trade policies for imports is a real looming problem. China has become a power manufacturing base to the world, but in terms of technology innovators, they are still far behind. They rely on other nations, such as the U.S., for innovation. Think back 35, 40 years ago, and this is where you'll find Japan. The difference is Japan found a way to move away from just commodity production and now lead the world in areas of innovation breakthroughs. For China, it's a very systemic problem that touches every part of their society, starting from their education system. And it's not something that gets fixed overnight. I think the new leadership in China understands very well the situation and wants to make changes and clean things up in many areas, but that's easier said than done. I relate it to the old Wild Wild West here in the U.S. It took time to bring law and order to the frontier, and it's going to take China some time as well.
John, I think that's great input and insight, and I agree that developments in China will need our ongoing and consistent attention. It's not something we can take for granted. Now, on a different note, back in June, you and I attended a BB&T Capital Markets Car Talk in the City conference in New York City. What would you say were the key takeaways from this conference?
Well, first of all, it was an outstanding meeting. For you and I to have the opportunity to sit around the table with the CEOs and senior managers of some of the largest industry players, as well as vendor suppliers such as ourselves, to get their opinions and views on what's happening within the aftermarket is just priceless. It provided us with a good cross-section, a barometer, if you will, that we can use to compare our performance and validate the assumptions that we've made about the markets. Key takeaways for me are, one, spending repair is increasing, and the early signs that it'll continue to gain momentum. New car sales are up and rising, and although some see this as a negative impact in the short term, in the long term it's a positive. Remember, if the cars don't leave the lot, we can't repair them in the aftermarket. That said, customers are looking for value products. The economy has not recovered to the point that discretionary spending has come back to the auto side of our business, so value is critical. Companies doing well right now are the ones that are making sure they meet customers' needs. That means making sure they have the right parts to do the job in a timely manner and within the customer's budget.
Well, John, for me personally, I was glad to learn that our market approach of quality meets affordability seems to be right on target.
Yeah, you're exactly right. It's a timely message.
Now, what were the experts' thoughts on consolidation in the industry?
Well, I think the consensus is that we can definitely expect to see more three-step distribution consolidation moves. There's a lot of deals in talks right now that'll be coming together later this year. And I guess to sum it up, there's a lot of positive signs for the aftermarket, but you know, right now it's still a good old-fashioned street fight out there.
Well, John, again, thank you for joining me today. I'm sure that our customers are always interested in hearing about the exciting things that we've got going on at DMA, and also getting your perspective on the aftermarket and beyond. I hope that you'll come back and talk with us again soon.
Absolutely. Anytime I can help.
Great. Now, if you've got questions for John about this interview, or if you want to get more details about the topics we've covered today, we're only a phone call or email away. Also, let us hear from you about the topics that you'd like to have us feature in the future. As always, we appreciate your business and your continued support. And that's the word on the street.